Alright guys, hello, welcome back to the next episode of our Konnersport MyTeam Career Mode, episode 5, as we're going to be heading into the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And before we get started, I just wanted to apologize for the last episode. The commentary wasn't at my best capability because I was tired. If you guys couldn't tell, I was yawning, and I was a little bit dehydrated, so I was a little bit raspy if you guys could have noticed it, but I'm not sure. It's been a minute since we've been recording. This is the first episode back since the 1.06 update, I believe, and apparently there were SERPs issues, but we've managed to get it down to a system where it'll work every time we want to record an episode, and that is good. And you guys will see them throughout the episode, throughout the race. We're going to be using a alternative mod pack for today's episode. I'm not quite sure. I'm tabbed out right now for a moment. Not quite sure who the livery was from. I'm pulling up the file right now. The alternate livery pack from oh wow, I'm really all over the place. I'm sorry about this. It is the alternative Grand Prix, alternative livery package from a Fikey. So the Red Bull rear wings, the Aston Martin, the gradient on the Williams, and the red logoed Haas. Those are going to be the 5 livery updates. We're also going to be running the updated livery for the McLaren. I'm not sure off the top of my head who that was from, but you guys will be seeing that as well, the darker orange, and that's going to be our mods for today's episode. So we tab back in, get the music back going. We have only a few days before the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, but we're going to go ahead and go through all of this. New level of fan engagement, title sponsor loyalty grows, owner training. We have a point available now. I'm not sure. Relationship builder, build loyalty with your title sponsor, social media, personnel focus. Box of drivers progress, fan rating, rate of hiring personnel with sentiment. Research postmortems. 20 resource points each time a research project encounters a delay. Let's see. Let's go with personnel focus, and we're gonna try to go with the driver talks. So, training activity unlocked. Owner training personnel focus. The only one I can do, I believe. Oh, we can do the fan outreach as well. That's it for tasks there. Let's see here. I'm still trying to learn how to do the research stuff. We have the resource points for that. Where's the chart? There it is. We have a lot of availability for aero, but I want to go chassis on this one. It's just a matter of what we can upgrade on development. We have a second slot for aero. Requires facility improvement slot unlocked, so we'll take a look at that for a second here. Beam wing. We have the money for this now. Redevelop. All right. We'll go with the heave dampers. Hopefully those will be ready by the next Grand Prix. I don't know why you're still marked. Oh, I forgot to approve it. There we go. Powertrain, and then we don't have anything for durability right now. We have 1,300 points. Gearbox, combustion. We'll go combustion engine since we are almost done with our first set. When is that going to be done, actually? Let me... Okay. Alright, we should be good there. I'll double check to see if we have any more points. We do. For slot gap for the DRS. I believe that's it for research. Sign upgrades, see if we have any. No parts available. They both have the same number of parts. Jackson got the parts later than Mayer did. No driver talks as of right now. We have a meeting available for Jackson. We're almost there for Kelly Mayer, and we'll go from there. So we'll go ahead and cut it off right here, and we'll do the driver meeting stuff behind the scenes, and we'll see you guys for the feature. Well, now we got the personnel facility here. Trying to get ahead of myself again. Aero team made it off the cuff comment. Important. Resolve it immediately. Yeah. Early talks. Talk with Aiden Jackson.
Pleased to say that early talks have progressed well, and we're now in a position to have a first meeting with them to learn more about what we're each after. It's a bit of a dance, but it'll be worth it, I think. And remember, it doesn't bind us to them. We can always go elsewhere.
All right, we're gonna go into this meeting, and we'll see you guys for the race in Saudi Arabia.
Good morning, good afternoon, or for us, good evening, as we're under the night lights of Jeddah. The floodlights are on, and so is the pressure here at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah street circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Piastri, Russell, Yuki Tsunoda, and Ocon, Hamilton, Mayer, Norris, and Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Albon, Jackson, Jack Doohan, and Sainz, Hülkenberg, Fernando Alonso, Ollie Behrman, and Liam Lawson, Stroll, Hadjar, Gasly, and Gabriel Bortoleto rounds off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Well, it's been a long time since I last worked with you. Good to see you again today, Anthony Davidson. So we're getting close to the start of the race. What will this driver be experiencing? Big nerves, big excitement, what?
Always extra nerves at the start of the race, Grumpy. It's probably at the start of the race, it's where your heart rate's at its highest in anticipation. And you've got to be in the right mindset. You've got to be thinking there inside the car, what can go right? How can I be opportunistic rather than what can go wrong? And how do I protect my position? Look forward and stay positive. It's easy to say, very hard to do when you're in that position.
The formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres. So as all the cars reform the grids, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring the planned strategies are all in place.
All right, here we are for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, pulling up to our grid slot, playing as Callie Mayer this time. You guys didn't notice in the formation lap, you could just hear the engine wear on the components. I thought it was an audio bug at first, but it's just engine wear as our 5 red lights are on. As Callie Mayer lights are off, we're off to a decent start. Hamilton ahead, off to a good start. Ocon off to a bad start as we try to push ourselves to the outside lane. And we made a quick cut to the outside. A little bit of contact there with Hamilton on the left side. We gave him enough room. We had to file in behind Ocon and Hamilton as they're still side by side. A lot of drivers still side by side as we're going into the second half of Sector 1, which we have a lot of trouble with as we starting to move down the order. Antonelli trying to gain position, not quite, as we had to file in single car order. Not necessarily sure if anybody else is side by side at the moment as we start to move into Sector 2. Albon there behind Norris, just a gap starting as we're looking at the order. Alonso dropping a position, or I believe, no, Hulkenberg Alonso fighting for position there as they're on screen. Behrman trying to look for an opportunity ahead of him to make a move. You can see the gaps already forming, like I was saying, 1.4 between Piastri and Verstappen, and then another gap forming between Mayer and Ocon. Next gap opening up between Hulkenberg and Sainz farther down the order, as we have a lockup from Leclerc leading the race into the final corner. Russell, Piastri ahead side by side with Tsunoda watching that battle, as we are pretty much already done with the first lap. Feeling a lot better about this race, but the engine wear is questionable as we see 3 wide going across the start-finish line between Mayer, Antonelli, and Norris. We outbroke them as Norris and Antonelli side by side for a moment there, as they're a little bit of ghosting. The ghosting can have improvements because they still try to hang on to the no lap contact with the AI, so they have them ghost. And that's basically as far as they go with that contact, as we have Doohan trying to make a move on Jackson, not quite there. You see the majority of the grid is on medium tires. I believe Mayer started on mediums, and then there was one other driver down the order that started on softs. Everybody else is going to be on the same tire strategy as we move on to the end of lap 2. Mayer versus Norris, and Antonelli is there to make a move on Norris on the inside, and you can see Albon. So it's a 4-car fight for P8 technically, because we almost went into another 3 wide, but we outbroke as Callie Mayer holds on to that position. It's going to be an ongoing fight until we start seeing some tire wear on these medium tires, and it's just the way we're trying to do things is basically outlast everybody else for a positive tire strategy. Moving on to the end of lap 3, Mayer now making a move on Esteban Ocon. A little bit of an issue there with braking, trying to figure it out. As under braking, you can hear it. Hear those engine components. Easy move on the outside down the start finish straight before turn 1 on Ocon. As you can see, a lot of position changes farther down the grid, as we're looking pretty good. Jackson yet to get into the points as we're moving on to him. He's going to be moving up against Albon, having the opportunity on the inside, and in turn watching that 3-way battle between Norris, Ocon, and Antonelli. They're all piled up behind Callie Mayer, and Jackson has DRS, a lot of open air to the sides of those cars, but he has DRS and he has that train of air, give him that little bit of boost to fight for the points. As they're starting on lap 5, Jackson is into the top 10. Norris P11, as Jackson starts to put pressure on Ocon through sector 1. You can see the battle up ahead. That's going to be Russell versus Hamilton against the other Ferrari. As you can see, their positions change now by lap 8. We're on board with Alonso, who's ahead of Lawson and trying to put pressure on Hulkenberg. Can't really tell it's a Sauber just from the back of the car, but Hulkenberg's going to be one of the first people into the pits to start our set of pit stops, and I believe that's going to be Ocon, Albon, Hulkenberg in the pits to start. It's going to be lap 9 on those medium tires, so they're going to be running a long run or a 2-stop, but we're still on board with Alonso, and you could just hear it. His engine gives out as a lot of the cars on the grid, I'm pretty sure, are feeling it. There's been a handful of retirements so far in the season, as we have Alonso in the Aston Martin finishing his race 9 laps in. On board with Albon and Sainz, who just came out, or Albon just came out of the pits. If you notice it, you saw a quick glimpse of Alonso off in the runoff. That's going to be Callie Mayer, 2 seconds clear of Piastri on lap 11. And we're basically waiting out the rest of the drivers to see where these medium tires can end up. Because we have Hamilton staying out, Tsunoda staying out, Mayer passing Russell, Verstappen, Leclerc, and Piastri. And I believe Jackson went in as well from that red marker there. As we're going through the order. Yep, Jackson is coming in. He has Piastri behind him, who is on their way out. It's going to be mediums to hards for all but 2 on the grid. I'm still not sure who had the soft tires. I honestly feel like it was Hulkenberg going from soft to hards, but I could be wrong. You guys may be able to see it at the end of the race. We're going to be coming up to the end of lap 12 now for Callie Mayer's pit stop. It's going to be Hamilton and Tsunoda in the pits as well. And you can start hearing the gears give out. And if you noticed on the little HUD there on the steering wheel, 4th gear is nowhere to be seen currently with these engine issues. And I know after these engine issues come up, it'll clear away, but that is in the danger zone because we're up towards 80% aware on at least three components for Callie Mayer. I'm not sure what Jackson's car is looking like for engine components. We're going to be coming out ahead of Piastri and Lawson. So a decent position for Callie Mayer, P6. But the engine and missed gear shifts, as you can see, it's having trouble with the RPMs going through Sector 1. Piastri is closing in the 8/10, going now to 7/10 now, as they're just basically catching up to Mayer. And you just got to ride it out until those engine issues subside or the car just gives out. So you're on board with Piastri now on new sets of hards, or I believe it's 1 lap old hards. And by the end of lap 13, Piastri is going to be making the move on the outside through the final fast section of Sector 3. And Callie Mayer is going to be holding on to the inside on the fresher tires. It's just a matter of getting those medium tires up to temperature, as Ocon and Lawson are fighting for a position behind. Jackson back there in P10 ahead of the 2 Williams. You can see them in the background. As that little shot there between Piastri and Mayer has made it to the thumbnail. I thought about doing the 3 cars earlier in the race as the thumbnail, but we went ahead with the 2 with the McLaren correction. Callie Mayer now ahead of Jackson on lap 15. There is temperature in these tires now, and we're past the 4th gear issue on the gearbox. So Callie Mayer pushing against Piastri on fresher tires and gaining that position here on lap 15, as Jackson still holding on to P8, as Piastri is just, this battle is going to be going back and forth for a few laps. It's Verstappen 4 seconds clear of Leclerc. Russell just within a second for DRS behind Leclerc, and Hamilton sitting there in P4. lap 16 going on behind the fight between Piastri and Mayer. We are on board with Albon. Can't see the transition of the gradient on the livery here, but there's going to be the next and final failure of the race, or engine failure I should say. You're sitting pretty good in the points. There goes Norris, Hulkenberg, Albon, Bortoletto, and that's basically going to be the same place that Alonso retired, but no safety car. So we're on board with Calimere yet again at the end of this lap, trying to make a move on Piastri. Yet again, like I said a minute ago, Piastri Sonoda is going to be the main fight for this race, as we're over halfway done with the race, and we really stretched those hard tires out because our pit crew wanted us to pit Calimere with the rest of the grid, like on lap 8, lap 9, so I knew better than to do that. I should have swapped the strategy out before the race. I just went with a default. I maybe adjusted it by 1 lap, but I knew that those hard tires can stretch at least 12 laps. I just wanted to wait till the front runners on those medium tires waited it out, as we're now on board with Lando Norris, who's currently overtaking Antonelli on the outside, the final corner of the race here to end lap 19. You can see Jackson up ahead, P8 now. Calimere still holding on to P6, who's just under 2 seconds clear of Piastri, as we're going on board with some of the other battles throughout the end of this race. Gasly and Doohan, P11, P12, trying to put pressure on Antonelli, but they're just way too far back for that. On board with Sonoda now. Verstappen is in the lead. Sonoda's fighting for P4 against Hamilton. He's going to have the speed on the hard tires, making a move on the outside. He's going to be able to outbrake Hamilton. He's still going to have DRS, I believe. I'm not quite sure, as they're coming around the corner. Hamilton's going to be coming behind to try and make a move on him, but that's not going to be much for Hamilton, as Calimere still holding on to P6. Jackson's still holding on to P8, I believe. But this is going to be the final corner of the race. On board with Max Verstappen for our top 10. It's going to be Max Verstappen coming across the line first. And then I believe that's going to be Leclerc and then George Russell for the rest of our podium. P4 goes to Yuki Tsunoda, helping out the Red Bull team. That's Hamilton in the Ferrari. Calimere P6. Crossing the line, that's Piastri there and the other McLaren, or the first McLaren. Jackson splitting the McLarens. Nope, there's going to be the other Mercedes of Kimi Antonelli, and then that's Lando Norris for P10. So a very interesting top 10 to end out this race.
Another victory and a champion's performance from Max Verstappen.
Well, are we looking at a champion in waiting today, Crofty, with that kind of performance? They were driving with the kind of lack of pressure that you quite often see when a driver knows, they just know within themselves that that championship is within their reach.
We had drama from start to finish, but in the end, there was only ever one that could take that top spot. And for those that have missed the Dutch national anthem, fear not. It's back again, because Max Verstappen is back on the top step. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
All right, there we have it. The results for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen starting in the front row against Charles Leclerc, and in the end, beating him to that top spot. Calimere gaining 2 positions, Aiden Jackson gaining several positions from P12, as they both get into the top 10 from their points positions. Calimere having some engine issues there around the pit stop. We lost 4th gear for a while, while we were driving as her. And then Aiden Jackson was really putting some pressure down on Lando Norris and Andrea Kimi Antonelli. To go over to the standings, the driver standings, Max Verstappen is still pulling away just a little bit because Lando Norris fell down the order there during the race. And that's George Russell sitting in third, still leaving Hamilton, Mayer, Leclerc fighting for fourth position, but not too far off that third place position. As we go over to Constructors standings, McLaren leading Red Bull to 113. Red Bull closing that deficit by the podium today, and Yuki Tsunoda finishing P4 if you guys didn't notice that in the order, as Ferrari holds on to P3 as we're fighting Mercedes for P4 at the moment. As we fall a little bit back down the order against Ferrari for third, but we're still in the fight against Mercedes for fourth, so it's a decent start for us for the season so far. And if you guys didn't notice, at the beginning of the race we had some engine issues for Callie Mayer. It's like actual audio cues telling you that it was bad. I thought it was an audio bug at first, but even though we're 5 races in, we're gonna go ahead and switch out those parts for at least Callie Mayer. I'm not sure how we're gonna do with Aiden, depending on where the wear is for his car, but we're definitely gonna be looking into switching those parts out, and if we have enough money to go for the durability department for research and upgrades. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you guys in the next one for Miami.